Okay, this is the Indy Pro wrap-up with Milos the Mind Sarcev. This is Ron Harris talking to you, even though you can't see me. But trust me, I'm here. So, Milos, you just got back from dinner after the show and everything. So you watched judging this morning. It started early, and finals this evening. And I'd like to get your take on. Let's start with the 212 at the Indy Pro.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me, before we go to the categories, say, if you remember during a preview, I was saying I really hope that in this Indy Pro, because it's the first time show organized here, judges going to give a chance and compare people. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. They all got like a one comparison, and that was it. So for me, this is like very, very disappointing, and I don't even use the word disturbing because then I would offend some people. But really, in every sport, every athlete has an opportunity to compete, except I guess here, because like if you're not being compared and you're just placed, you have that sour taste in your mouth and go home, get disappointed, and you quit because you just don't want to do it anymore. I said before, like at least give a chance for guys to be compared.
Yeah.
Whoever is better, they're going to prove it. You know, and a few comparisons would be beneficial to everybody. Audience would love it. Reporters would love it. The newspapers, and especially competitors. I was talking to Hida during a dinner, and Iris Kyle.
Yeah.
Now that's 10 times Miss Olympia, who won 10 times and was still being compared. Right. I remember back in the day, like in 1992. At the Ironman contest, I got 8 consecutive comparisons in a symmetry round alone, 8 of them. So Hida couldn't even comprehend that these things were happening before. So I really, really encourage judges and maybe officials to start thinking a little bit more about the effort that all the competitors are putting into this preparation for a contest, coming in and then really not even having a chance to compete. It's just like a boxer going for a boxing match, coming into the ring, and as soon as they touch the gloves, they say, no, don't bother fighting, go away, you lost. I mean, this is kind of, where, because if you're not compared, and you lose to somebody, what is it? You tell me. I mean, there's no way there is like such a discrepancy and inequality that people should not be compared, especially if guy beats you week before, and now a week later you're not even being compared, to the guy. So it is a hard pill to swallow. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to make a difference. I think that all the athletes in the world, all the bodybuilders, fitness competitors, figure competitors, bikini competitors, classic physique, men's physique, is going to agree. Let's have a little bit more comparisons. This is really all there is to it. Everybody would appreciate it. I understand when there's a time limit for the show. I understand that. But here, especially, there was so much time. I mean, the show was over like 7 o'clock.
Wow.
We left.
Well, let me ask you, Milos, can I ask you to clarify this? Because, so are you saying like you would like to see the guys who were in like the third call-out get a chance to be compared with the guys who were in the first call-out?
Not necessarily dead last or the dead first, but there was only one comparison for all, pretty much one comparison. So, top 6 and then second call out and third call out, and that was it. And there was the same at the finals, just one exact same comparison. So there was no chance of, let's say, seeing, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and stuff like that. Really, really, when you think about it, back in the 90s, there was so many comparisons, crisscross, and people enjoyed it. And there was many times that the judges bring the same competitors to be compared one more time, and a third time if necessary. But here there was like no comparison. So this is one thing that I would have to say it's disappointing to me. I'm a fan of the sport. I like to analyze, so when you don't see guys head-to-head being compared, how can you say this guy is better? Really, it's just like I understand it's subjective sport, and you take some things into consideration. But if you imagine that, okay, one guy beats the other 1 week, and then the following week he doesn't even deserve the chance to be compared to the guy that he beat. How could you explain that?
I mean,
really?
you're saying the
That might
physiques
be a
of both
difficult.
those guys have not changed much, right? It's not like one guy got
I'm
way
sorry?
out of shape. Yeah, you're talking about like two
No, no,
guys.
no, no. It's a very similar condition, very, all things equal, not being even compared. So, that goes very hard with me. And I think I mentioned in a preview, there's many international competitors. This time, not many because mostly they were American, but many other shows. I mean, you have those guys save money for like years, so they can make that one trip and compete. They maybe bring the family and they step on the stage and they get one courtesy call out and they're told to leave the stage and go back home. So I would just hope that we understand this is IFBB Pro Division. All these people earn the right to compete in pro cards.
Yeah.
So I would hope they can be compared a little bit more.
Okay, good.
That's all. That's my opinion.
Well, that's why I like talking to you, Milos, because you're not.
That's just my opinion.
You have
okay, let's go with
yeah, you're not afraid to talk
in
about
the
it.
212.
Yep.
The 212 class actually was much deeper than when you and I talked because we didn't know that Charles Dixon is coming.
Right.
And Charles Dixon being pretty much almost winner of the Honor Classic, he was, I guess, leading after the first two rounds and then lost in the last round at Arnold, Ohio. Tremendous competitor, heavily muscled, thick as a brick, really, huge guy for 212. Actually, sometimes I even wonder how he makes it 212. Yeah, he was obviously clean-cut winner. Surprisingly, he didn't get the perfect score. He actually, got 1 point less. But for me, he was just way overpowering in good condition, nothing missing. So deserving winner. Second place went to Jacob Wilson, and condition-wise and structure-wise, he was there. I think there was, a good call for a second place. Yeah. But I just wanted to see a little bit more comparison with the guys under him. Yeah. Again, maybe go head-to-head with Silvio and Ahmed, and the other Ahmed. There are two Ahmeds.
Right.
Ahmed Asadani from Egypt and Ahmed from Sweden.
Right.
So Jacob placed second, and I think condition-wise, he nailed it. I think him this time.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to say congrats to him. He's a client of my friend Jose Raymond's, and I saw him last summer turn pro at the USA with Derek Lunsford in another class, and they both went to Tampa the next weekend, and they were 1 and 2 in the 212 pro at that show. So this guy's must be pretty dang good.
Yes, it is. I mean, it was a good lineup, and he was looking really good. Third went to Sylvia Samuel, right?
Yep.
When you and I talked about Sylvia, you mentioned you don't even think that he was that much heavier than 212.
Right.
And I kind of remember that he was, so I had to ask him. He says he was competing 235.
Oh, wow.
So that's, and it was noticeable when he stepped on the stage. It was not the same Silvio, one that I used to, because I trained him for a while and prepared him. And I've seen him in the gym day in, day out. He was a full round, very, very powerful. This was like a little bit streamlined version of him. And it's good to see him back. He is back in the lineup. And maybe he's going to be very competitive in this division. But I also think that two Ahmeds under him, could possibly challenge him for that third place. Really. Again, not to take anything away from him. I'm a little bit more rough, especially I'm rough on my guys. Silvio, he's veteran of the sport. He was in fairly good condition, not in a crisp condition that I know him for, even though he announced to me, wait until you see me on the stage. It was not the same, but it was respectful showing, and he got the third place across the board. So I guess judges unanimously gave him third place.
Well, let me ask you this, Milos. If he was able to get back that roundness and fullness that he had when he was winning. He won the Pro Ironman. He used to beat a lot of good guys. Wasn't he like top 6 at the Olympia one year?
Yeah, I mean, he's a top contender. I mean, he can be that. You see, that's the one thing about, you know, trying to scale down to be into 212. You have to sacrifice some muscle mass, and then, you know, unfortunately, you know, guys don't understand that usually when you sacrifice muscle mass, it's not the, you know, muscle that you have in excess. It's like usually a weakness that goes by, you know, first, because that's why it's a weakness in the first place. So guys, you know, with favorable body parts, you know, thinking maybe they can risk losing here and there, they usually don't lose it there. They lose it, but they need it the most. You know, so he needed more weight. I mean, half of the posing round, he turned to the back. He was confident in his back and doing many back poses. But from the front and side, it was just not the same. It missed that V-taper. It was not like, you know, so dramatic X-frame V-taper. It was, you know, slimmed down version. Right. You know, very good by all means. And I mean, Silvio, if you're listening, I'm not criticizing you, you know, to, you know, put you down, and just to motivate you to try harder for next time. He has what it takes now. His body is back in prime condition. I think he can just keep improving from now on. The job is done. His muscles are back. Muscle memory, right? He was absent for a while. Yeah. So he made a tremendous comeback. He's lean. So now he can start putting a quality mass. Stay in 212 if he thinks that's a smart decision. I personally think he should go in open. Yeah. And put like about 30 pounds and be very competitive.
I agree. I mean, that's the look that was doing so well for a while there. And okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
and
congrats to Charles Dixon. Moving on. Okay, the open division. Yeah. I know.
Let me just tell you for 2 more guys, because those 2 guys I want to really emphasize because I really so much appreciate both of their physiques. You see, for me, Ahmed El-Sadani and Ahmed had the best physiques. If I'm a judge, I would actually, you know, push them and compare them, and possibly, as I like more aesthetics and V-taper, shape, conditioning, you know, flat abdominals, really aesthetically pleasing physiques. Both of them are phenomenal. Now, I was not familiar with the Egyptian guy, Ahmed El-Sadani. He has a tremendous future. I mean, I was so impressed when he lifts those arms, front of biceps, like you have that crazy V-taper and everything is happening. He has enough muscle mass. He was just not in a top condition. Okay. So I mean, fair condition, but not top condition. And to touch Ahmed, you know, it really puzzles me. I mean, guy keeps coming very strong, you know, in great condition, not missing anything. Maybe, you know, needs a little bit more size to the legs, but, you know, again, it's relatively speaking, because they're very separated. You can see quadriceps, lateralis, medialis, rectus femoris, everything is there, deeply separated. Crazy abs, like abs that you can just, you know, hope for. Full arms, full shoulders, crazy back. You know, maybe somewhat missing on a chest fullness. So that's the one thing for him to bring that chest fullness. But when he was doing all these poses, I mean, for me, I thought he would be immediately top contender. I know that he got very discouraged, and you know, you can only compete so many times and be, I'm not going to say misjudged, but not maybe properly judged. And then you're going to start losing faith. I would just tell Ahmed, you know, to continue what he's doing. He's a tremendous competitor. His day is going to come. He has everything. I mean, I bet if I pull 10 people from the street and show him this picture, everybody's going to love his physique and want to look like him. He has one of those, you know, beautiful shapes and physique to kill for.
The classic bodybuilding look, even though he's not physique, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe he should go classic too.
No, he'd probably have to drop like another 20 pounds. Okay.
No, actually, I think he can make it. You know, this is that argument. I've been talking to so many guys, I even some guys that I prepare, and you know, when I tell them go to the classics, and they just immediately first get insulted, but then yeah, like no, like what? I don't have enough muscle. It's not about that. It's about you can perfectly fit what IFBB Pro League wants to set as a new standard for classic physique, and you know, for me, Ahmed. I didn't tell him because I don't think he would appreciate it, but he's going to probably listen to this interview, so he should consider it.
Okay, I hope he does. All right. So let's talk open division. We're going to talk about top seven. Seventh place, Hidetaka Yamagishi. So
yeah, I mean, as you know, I prepare Hida, and I'm always very, very, sentimentally oriented towards him and biased. I thought that the last two shows he has established himself with the greatest conditioning, and he didn't really place where he should, I think. This time, as I told you earlier today, he didn't repeat that kind of condition, but he wasn't that far off. Again, when you compare his conditioning next to the other guys, he was not out-conditioned.
Right.
It was just like, probably outsized. You know, this is that one thing that maybe he has to realize. He's not competing with the guys 220, 230. All those guys were like 250, 60, 70. I mean, really monsters, top five. Again, you know, he's like one of the examples, veteran of the sport, and being just top five at Arnold Classic, and didn't get the one comparison with the top five. You know, so this is that one thing, and for somebody like him, that really gets under the skin, and it's like, well, maybe I should quit. And I told him, don't quit. You know, it's just another day. But I hope you understand. Him beating some guys just 2 weeks ago and not being able to be compared to them, it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Not saying that he deserved to beat them or anything. It's just to have a chance to compete. And if you don't have a chance to compete, it's really, really hard, especially for competitive people. And as you guys know, you know, those guys that bust their balls into the gym, I mean, Hida is ultimate warrior, training like a mad dog. And then, you know, when he puts so much effort there and then it's not given a chance to compete, that's hard. You know?
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so this was you know, a little disappointing, but you know, he's good, and you know, tomorrow is another day.
Yeah,
Monday between legs.
Exactly. Okay, so the German guy Roman Fritz, who I've only seen a couple times, strong sixth place. He was pretty close with Hida in the comparisons, right?
Yeah, it was a few points actually between them. There was 1 point pre-judging, and then a couple of in the finals.
Yeah.
Roman, for me, has a tremendous physique that I really, really appreciate. I was hoping he's going to be bigger. Conditioning was good. I mean, he's always known for conditioning, but I bet you that conditioning can actually even improve, because he is exactly like this 365 days a year. You can pick him any day. Call him Roman. Can you just strip your clothes and take pictures? He's going to be that ripped.
Wow.
Guy is consummate professional. You don't understand. He was actually training 3 times a day.
Wow.
You hear that's right. Not like Dorian 3 times a week, 3 times a day.
3 times a week. It's true.
Yeah. I mean, as a Swiss clock and a German machinery, he would have every calorie to a gram. You know, there's like really a machine. I still think that he doesn't eat enough, and that we could have put more mass. I think actually he just contacted me. Hopefully he's going to hire me to do the next show, and I would like to put the 15-20 pounds on him and see what happens. You know, because he has everything. From the front, the relaxed pose, side relaxed pose is great. From the back, relaxed, yeah, he can maybe use more thickness and width on the back. But front double biceps, you know, he can do it with a vacuum, floating like X-frame, legs separated like crazy. Side pose is very good. Abdominals and thighs, excellent. So I was actually quite shocked that his posing routine lasted 1 minute. I don't know, you know, Roman, what were you thinking? It's like a chance for you to shine and take your time. You came in and, went out, before you even started. So don't do that next time. I mean, it's at least 3-minute rule. I don't know if it's limited, but I know that you have at least 3 minutes. So use all of them. Yeah, he was a great competitor.
Yeah, did you say he stays that lean, like contest condition all the time?
I promise you. The guy is a freak. He
ridiculous.
is, I mean, he can have a straight glutes any day, of the year. You call him, you'll see it.
Well,
separated legs, deep abs. I guarantee you. Yeah.
I hope if he comes over and works with you, you throw some pizzas at him, a few times a week, some cheeseburgers, pizza. Get this guy bulked up.
Whenever we cheesecake and pizza, it doesn't fit my macros.
Okay, so 5th place from New York was Justin Luis Rodriguez, who I'm just going by the pictures that were posted that Hector Mendoza took for us, but looks like he lost a lot of sharpness that he had in Ohio, because I thought his condition was among the best. At him and Hide were probably the 2 best conditioned guys in the open class, I thought, back in Ohio.
Yeah, when you and I analyzed contenders, we actually put him in close 2nd place to Steve Kuklo. Actually, yeah. Kuchlo. I talked to Steve officially. He says it's Kuchlo, but because everybody here calls him Kuklo, he accepted Kuklo. But yeah, it is Kuchlo. So I wasn't wrong. Yeah. So Justin, as you said, has a tremendous physique. He has that beautiful shape and enough muscle mass. Crazy body parts. That front double biceps looks amazing. Arms alone, back double biceps, phenomenal. So I was expecting much more from him, and that he's going to be a top contender. But he lost the condition. I don't know why. So
yeah, we'll never
instead of improving and possibly moving up in placing, he actually went backwards.
Okay, so 4th place is a guy I just did an interview with earlier this week for the Ronline thing, Ian Valliere, who is Chris Bumstead's sister, Melissa's fiance, and training partner of Chris Bumstead. He's kind of been in the shadows. They were the big names, especially Chris. But now, I was very impressed with him today. I know you were too.
Did he also buy a dog from Chris Bumstead?
You know what I was going to ask in the interview? I was going to say, when you get married, are you going to change your name to Bumstead? No.
Yeah, Chris is champion of his own, and that's okay. But Jan is Jan, so let's talk about him. Yeah. I was super impressed. I told you in the preview that this guy has a tons of potential, and for sure, for me, as I said, I would not if he plays as high as 2nd. And I'm going to say this again. Yeah, he is so complete, and he has a combination of size, shape, symmetry, aesthetics, and freakiness. Yeah, he is thickly muscled. Nothing is missing. I would like him to improve a little bit of posing and presentation. Still, a lot of people don't really take this seriously. There's many poses that you can hit in different ways, and some ways much more pronounced than the other, so you can enhance your qualities.
Yeah.
So he needs a little bit of refinement as far as that goes. Maybe Chris Bumstead's choreographer can help him.
I mean, Chris is a great poser.
No, but yeah, Chris is a good poser. Yeah. But yeah, Ian is like a huge potential. We're going to see more of him in the years to come. He is tremendous. Yeah. I was impressed.
Okay. So 3rd place was Luke Sando, who had been 6th in Australia, moved up to 3rd here. Did he tighten up? Did he tighten up from Australia?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he was very, very good. Some people had him 2nd. He also wouldn't be a bad call. He is considerably tighter, more conditioned than in Australia. And even in Australia, I said he has that perfect bodybuilder shape. I mean, really thickly muscled, nothing missing, good from every angle, side, front, back. Hits various poses, and he has a combination of thickness and width, separation and quality. I talked to his training partner, Ben, my client, and he says, unfortunately, he's never going to probably change the way he trains, so he's going to probably always stick to this heavy duty, and maybe we I'm not gonna expect more polished, striated look. I would really, if I would be in Chris' position, Chris Aceto is his coach.
Yep.
I would encourage him to implement some of those and try to refine it and really, brings those striations, because that kind of shape, that frame, that round muscle bellies and muscle insertions, with the delts, chest, and lats, and maybe quads, is going to be super hard to beat. He could be top contender very, very soon. I mean, already placing third in a IFBB Pro show is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations! I think they're partying right now.
I hope so.
Yeah, deserving it. So, Luke, you have a name of the Olympia, trophy, Sando. So, David is yours one day.
It's going to be good. Hope he listens to you and thinks about changing his training up just a little bit, guy. Okay, runner-up. I was very impressed with Charles. What's that? Oh, I was going to say,
I hope so that he will listen. Yeah.
Yeah, Charles Griffin. I'd seen him a couple times last year. Thought he was okay. Wasn't that impressed. He's really impressed me today. I think he's definitely gotten bigger and rounder and fuller, and he's kept his waist really small. That front double bicep shot of his is just ridiculous. He had probably the best front double bicep shot in the show.
In the preview, I told you that this guy is no joke, because I saw his pictures. Tremendous arms, tremendous legs, thickly muscled. He was missing condition a little bit. If you remember, I said this in the preview. If he comes conditioned, he's going to be forced to be reckoned with, and he was. He was pushing Steve. Now, of course, I think Steve won, fair and square, hands down. But he was clearly second, and judging score sheets show him clearly second. Very, very impressed with him. Super thick, muscular, hard, separated, conditioned, dry. Everything was there, so I was very impressed. He definitely nailed it and deserved second place.
Do you know if he got any first place votes?
I'm sorry? No, he didn't.
He did not.
I'm going to just get myself in trouble every time I talk about judging scores.
I'll stop asking.
He was. This time there was only 2 rounds being judged. Last time, if you remember, we talked about 3 rounds being judged. So it's same IFBB league, same IFBB Pro show. So I don't know what kind of rules go by different competitions, but this time there was only 2 rounds being judged, and he was clearly second in both rounds. So there was no question in judges' mind that he was actually even potentially third. He was second.
Okay. So Steve Kuklo, congratulations, Steve. You said it was a he deserved the win. He looked the best out of everybody. Condition-wise, what do you think he beat everyone on? Just a total package, or his condition looked good, but I couldn't tell from the pictures if didn't seem like he was quite as sharp as Ohio.
He was not as sharp as Arnold, but not far off. First impression, as soon as he steps on stage, he has that winner's look. I mean, nothing is missing. Huge frame, X-frame, cartoonish character, round, thick, big. I mean, he is really big, by all means. And every which way, he lifts his arms up or keeps them down. He's thick and complete. Nothing is missing. I think I already mentioned, in order to move up in Olympia placing and start being a really contender, besides conditioning, dry and lean conditioning, I think he needs to work also on that refinement and polishment. Really to start really thinking of those striations. It's people are going to say it's genetics and you can't create striation if you don't have it genetically. I highly disagree, because I did it with I'm not going to say hundreds of guys, but dozens of guys that before never had striations, and then all of a sudden they start getting it, shoulders and chest and even lats, quads. You can, so this is kind of thing. He already has all the sides.
Right.
I mean, even at the Arnold Classic, if you remember, standing next to those, top 3 guys, he was was very competitive. Size-wise, he was matching. You know, there's nobody out-muscled him there. You know, so it's like if he can bring those striated, really muscles on the stage and the perfect conditioning, you know, he can go as far as win Mr. Olympia. I told him he has that Mr. Olympia written all over him. Now, you know, like when somebody doesn't even place in top 10 at Olympia, and then people are going to say, Milos, you're so full of shit and all that stuff. He's telling everybody they can win Miss Olympia. I do. Yeah. I mean, if somebody would tell Ronnie Coleman back in 96, 97, you're going to be Miss Olympia, people would laugh. There was evident that he has all the potential.
Right.
And so is many other guys. You see, the couple of guys that I actually never thought that they would have a potential to win Olympia. One was like Gunther Schirikam, that almost, because he beat Ronnie Coleman. So if there was a different day in different contests and he beat him, he could have won Mr. Olympia. But the second guy was Jay Cutler, really. In all due respect to Jay, and I love him to death. When I met him first, 96, I really, you know, didn't project that he can improve his physique to that point that he can not just win but dominate in several Olympias, and deservingly so. So for me, Steve Kukla or Kuchla, whatever we're going to choose to call him, he said, like, you know, people in America cannot pronounce this, so, you know, he just accepted Kukla. Like, I had to accept. Nobody calls me Milos. It's Milos, and stuff like that. But yeah, Steve had, in my opinion, even more potential than Jay Cutler. So if Jay could make it, so can Steve.
Now, do you think it's the way Kukla trains that he doesn't have as much detailed instructions as he could?
Probably. I mean, I haven't really seen him train, so, you know, I have to stay corrected. You know, so maybe I'm completely off. But I'm sure that there's so many people. You know, like I trained with the pros before, back in the 90s, right? And whatever exercise we do, and I said like squeeze. And then they would say, like, what for? You know, oh, really? What for? It's supposed to be that way. I'm not kidding you. And, you know, so there is, you know, we all talk about time under tension and all that stuff, but there is a different kind of tension. There's, you know, partial tension and maximal tension, you know. So I always show to the guys, you can squeeze a little bit or more and more and more and more, okay? So there's... You don't see me right now. I'm flexing my pecs.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. Okay. No, but with each muscle, you know, I see that people use just enough contraction to move the weight, to finish the movement, to go that full range of motion. And they're supposed to do that peak contraction, but they are far away from squeezing. Far away. I've seen this on the biceps, triceps, chest especially, even legs, leg extension, stuff like that, back. It's not time under the tension, it's time at the maximal tension. That's a huge difference. So if they start really prolonging time at the maximal tension and squeeze the, you know, juice out of the lemon, so to speak, you know, like you squeeze the muscle so hard that you are, you know, basically exhausting yourself. You know, guys have that ego. Like if you and I train and you do 10 reps on whatever, bench press, I would try to do the 11, and I would try to save myself in any which way possible to be able to complete that 11 rep. For me, it's the opposite. I tell my guys, I want you to honestly try to fail in least amount of reps as possible, applying this technique that I'm telling you, squeezing the life out of the muscle. So normally when you can do something 10 reps easily, if you really squeeze, you'll see 5, 6 reps, that's about it. But you're going to instantly feel the difference, I promise you.
Wow. See, guys, it's not just opinions on the contest. We're learning a little bit we can apply to our own workouts. For those of you who don't care about the contests. Cool. Well, that about wraps it up. Is there any other further notes on the show you wanted to say?
No, that's it. I mean, I hope that Indy Pro is going to be back next year again, and I hope it's going to be bigger and better than this one. I would just, again, encourage, you know, at least athletes, maybe athletes representative, you know, to talk to officials, really, you know, to solve that issue about comparisons, because competition means comparisons, you
Yeah.
know, really. You know, so if you define how do you compete in a bodybuilding, it's like, hey, you're being compared, you're being analyzed, compared, and judged by your look. So if you're there on the stage and you're not being judged and compete with the guys ahead of you, it's a very, very hard pill to swallow. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I also want to thank you for once again. There was no webcast of the show, but anybody who was checking out your Instagram page all day today, you put up a ton of pictures and videos from the show, because you know the professional pictures take a long time to get put up. But
yes, I mean, I know there was not a webcast. I know there's a lot of fans, so like I would be somewhere in whatever part of the world, you know, wondering what's happening. At least I gave the opportunity for all these people to see it. Pictures are horrible. Don't buy the iPhone 10. I'm serious. You know, the better picture actually, you know, came from my old iPhone, you know, 6.
wow.
People are telling me buy a Samsung or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna, you know, have to go back with the camera. It's not gonna be instant, but at least this way, as you see, I try instantly to upload, and you know, so you guys can be in touch and know what's happening.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of people around the world appreciate it very much. So that's going to wrap it up for this summary of the finals, Indy Pro. Thank you so much, Milos the Mind Sarcev, for again offering your insights, opinions, wisdom, and I love the fact that you're never afraid to state your opinion. I love it. That's why people want to watch your recaps of these things, because they know you're going to say exactly what's on your mind. So thank you, man.
Sometimes to my detriment, but oh well.
Exactly. All right. So everybody, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the Muscular Development YouTube page, and we'll catch you later. All right.
See ya.